Let's get back to some basics. Today we're going to talk about punctuation and pluralization. This is your friend, the apostrophe. Now I know he looks a lot like his distant cousin, the comma, but as you'll soon find out, just like those other famous look-alike cousins, they're about as different as Steve and Myrtle Urkel. Commas are used to separate phrases, clauses, or items in a list. When you're writing them in a sentence, they appear at the bottom of a line, usually right after a word. We are not here to talk about commas today. Apostrophes appear at the top of the line, usually at the end or middle of a word. We can see examples of both of these in the famous quote from St. Helen of Constantinople, "It's morphin' time." An apostrophe is used for two things, either to contract, that means to combine or shorten words, or to show ownership. For example, if I write the sentence, as I so often do, "I am Eddie's dad," the apostrophe after Eddie means that Eddie is possessive. Not that there's more than one Eddie, because frankly, my wife and I couldn't handle that. Or if I write, "he's going to be late," the apostrophe there tells us that I have contracted the words "he is" to "he's." Contractions are used to shorten or combine two or more words into one. I am becomes I'm. They are becomes there. Should have becomes should have. But not should of. I will fight you on this. The contraction o'clock actually means of the clock. What time is it? It's 12 o'clock, 12 of the clock. And of course, here in the South, our favorite contraction is combining you all into y'all. In extreme cases, some people might contract the short sentence "you all would have" to the contraction "y'all'd have." But this is a very complicated procedure and should only be attempted by professionals. Most of the time, the apostrophe in a contraction is there to show you where letters have been removed or replaced. However, there are some contractions that throw in letters that don't appear in the original phrase. For instance, ain't. Despite what you were told in elementary school, ain't is a word. It's an uncommon contraction of the phrase am not. And with some words, adding apostrophe s to the end means you're contracting it with the word is. He is, he's, she is, she's, it is, it's. But when you put an s at the end of the word without an apostrophe, that means you're pluralizing it. You are trying to demonstrate that there is more than one of that thing. If you have 2 cats, if you have 6 cans of soda, if you have 30 books, which, despite what Marie Kondo might be trying to tell you, is not nearly enough. Most nouns can be made plural simply by adding the letter s to the end. Its is a special case, by the way. It apostrophe s means it is. Its shows possession, ownership, something that belongs to it. Pluralization never matters here because the plural of it isn't its, it's they or them. But that's a whole different video. There are exceptions to the plus s rule, of course. The plural of goose isn't gooses, it's geese. The plural of mouse isn't mouses, it's meese, or mice. The plural of moose isn't mooses, it's moose again. Why is that? Well, it's because the English language has spent centuries chloroforming other languages and stealing some of their words in the dead of night. However, some of those stolen words, once added to English, refuse to accept the rules of pluralization from the English language, whatever the hell they happen to be that day, and instead carry on using the rules from their language of origin. The only time an apostrophe matters in terms of pluralization is when you're trying to show that something is plural and possessive. In most cases here, you would put the apostrophe after the s. If I wrote the sentence, "I filled the dog's bowls," just by hearing it, you wouldn't know how many dogs I have. But if I write the sentence "dog apostrophe s," that means I have one dog to whom the bowls belong. If I write "dogs apostrophe," that means that I have more than one dog sharing the bowls. Could be 2, could be 10, could be enough for Cruella de Vil to make a whole new wardrobe. All I know for sure is that it's more than one. Now, there are, of course, exceptions to this rule, as there are to almost every rule in English, but I'm aware that some of my videos have gotten kind of long lately, and I'm trying to cut it down. Anyway, it's not that difficult. You don't use the apostrophe by itself to pluralize ever. If you're saying, "I'm a child of the 80s, no apostrophe. If you want to say, "Merry Christmas from the Johnsons," no apostrophe. If you're saying 2027 is going to be the year of the Dallas Cowboys, no apostrophe, and now you're wrong about 2 things.
So get it right!